Hello everybody, assalamu alaikum. Okay, let's start with inflation, right? We finished economic growth and we were doing inflation. So inflation is a very important chapter. We discussed about the um, causes. Hello, I think you can hear me now. Okay, so money supply inflation means that what's happening that the this is suggested by monetary economists. Okay, so what they suggest that the inflation is rising or the price level is rising because of the rising money supply. That means this money, the availability of money in the economy or the money that is circulating in the economy is increasing. As a result, the people can purchase a lot, they can consume a lot. So that's leading to rise in price level. Okay. So whenever the credit facility increases or the availability of money increases, money supply inflation takes place. So the monetary economists think that this is the only reason of inflation. Okay. Next, let's discuss about the consequences of inflation. Mm, Mm, so consequences of inflation includes like the reduction of purchasing power. Okay, the purchasing power is falling, right? Because the purchasing power is falling because now people can afford what they used to afford before. Right? They can, as the price level is increasing, the fixed income earner, they will be in big trouble because they won't be able to afford the increased prices of goods and services. The next we have uh, value of saving, reduce the value of saving, right? The value of saving is also falling because as the inflation is rising, the money they saved, suppose the people is saving money, but the saved amount, is not enough. Like why we save, because we think that the value of the money will increase, but what's happening in this case that because of inflation the value of money falls. So at the same time as the value of our saving also falls. Suppose the bank is offering you 4% interest for saving your money. Okay, but at the same time the economy is suffering with 7% inflation. Okay, so what will happen, the value of your money will fall by 3%. Okay, so this is a terrible loss for the people who are saving, right? They will see that the money the value of their money may seem like it's increasing, but as the money is losing its value or losing its purchasing power, what will happen that they will fail to uh, use the money as like before. Okay, so those who are saving will lose. Next is increased business cost. Okay, so as the inflation is increasing, the raw material and labor cost, everything will increase as well. So as a result, cost of production will rise. So as cost of production will rise, what will happen? It will be a burden to the business, and profit will fall. Next is menu cost. Menu cost is and is like when the price is increasing, think about a restaurant or other shops, and they will have to change the menu, so they have to reprint the menu. So everywhere they printed and um, the menu of their goods and services, okay, the price list of their goods and services, then the firms need to change it. Okay, that's why this is known as menu cost. Okay, everyone need to change the menu. um, Next is shoe leather cost. Okay, the shoe leather cost may seem a bit silly, but it's you'll find it in many economics book. Okay, so if you want to think it literally, what shoe leather cost is like. Is like when the price increases, what happens? We uh, move to different shops, right? So that we can find a cheaper alternative, right? Okay, so when we are moving around and looking for a cheaper alternative, what's happening? Mm, our shoe leather is facing a pressure, like we are overusing our shoe leather, right? When we are moving from one shop to another, um, when we are moving around looking for alternatives. Okay, so this may lead to rise in shoe leather cost. Okay, that and when you're moving on looking for alternative, so your shoe will suffer, and you may have to buy your shoe leather again and again as you're moving a lot. Okay, so if you take it literally, this is the meaning, but thinking it from a broader sense, that what happens that when the price level increases, we desperately look for alternatives. Okay, so any other cost that is related to looking for this kind of alternatives will be included in shoe leather cost. Okay, suppose you're calling your friends or your contacts to get a cheaper deal, or you're going to different countries, visiting different places, and maybe you're going to China to reduce your business cost. So this will be also included in the shoe leather cost. Okay, then balance of payment problem. So if inflation rises, so the price of goods and services of the local goods and services that we export, it will suffer. Say that if inflation is higher, firms find it difficult to sell in overseas markets. This is because the price of export rises. Okay, so as a result, demand for export is likely to fall, which means that the current account will adversely affected. If export falls, a surplus on the mm, current asset will be reduced, or a deficit will be increased. The problem will be worse if the imports become relatively cheaper than domestic goods. Okay, so there is a serious consequences on balance of payment. Okay, see that as inflation is taking place in your country, so what will happen, that the goods that you are exporting, it will become expensive to the foreigners, right? Um, so what will happen, definitely export will lose its competitiveness. Okay, compared to other options, so the foreigners will find your one a bit expensive, so they may switch to a different seller. Okay, and so export will fall, and as export falls, current account will suffer. It may deficit may increase, or surplus may fall. Okay, and at the same time, if the local people find that because of the inflation, the local goods may seem expensive to them, and the foreign goods, imported goods, if they find the local people find it cheaper, then it will be an extreme problem, because in this case, what will happen, they will import may also rise, because as people are finding overseas goods cheaper than local goods. Okay? So import will rise a lot as well. Okay, so that's the problem. There will be a serious problem on current account and serious pressure on current account or balance of payment. And the last one is increase in government spending. Okay, so when prices rise, the government has to spend more money. One of the main reason for this is because a lot of government expenditure is linked to the rate of inflation. The wage of public sector workers are closely linked to inflation. Okay, so if inflation continuously stays there, so what will happen, the government also have to increase their spending. Okay, in terms of raw material or in terms of construction or government official salaries or wage rates, so everything may rise because of inflation. And government does not have much option. They have to spend, even if the inflation rises, there's not much option. Okay, because government is working for the welfare of the people of the country. It's not they don't have profit motive. So what happens that they increases the if the price, even if the price level increases, there will be a rise in the uh, rise in the government spending. Okay, okay, so let's discuss this topic. It's the function of money, okay, and how it is affected by inflation. Hmm. Okay, so medium of exchange. Okay, so money has lots of qualities. So we're discussing four of them over here. Medium of exchange. So one of the main function of money is we use this as a medium of exchange. The main function of money is that it acts as a medium of exchange. This means money can be exchanged for goods and service when buyers and sellers trading. Okay. But during inflation, what will happen? Whenever you're trading with money, if the value of the money falls during inflation, what will happen? That one of the problem is that people won't find it confident. Suppose a seller is selling goods, and while he's selling, he may not be confident that okay, I'm receiving money, but will the money be worth it after the trading. Okay, and he may think, as many people will think that okay, look, no, let's not take money, let's take another goods in exchange of these goods. Okay, so this kind of problem may take place. Okay, people will lose their confidence on money as a medium of exchange. Next is store of value. This means that money can be stored for the period of time and used at a later date. For example, money received today can be used in 10 years' time to make a purchase. This encourages people to save, right? So, if you can compare with the barter system, what happened that it was difficult to store, right? Remember what? Do you know what is barter system? So previously, when there was no money system, at that time, what happened that people used to trade goods in exchange of another goods. Okay, so so at that time, the all the valuables were difficult to store. Like many of them were perishable, okay, or too large or difficult to store, right? Uh, so at that time, what happened? But money, on the other hand, is very easy to store. All right, it's not perishable. Then the size is small. Okay, but yeah, what's happening because of inflation? This quality of money is facing a threat because whenever you are storing money, maybe after 10 years you'll find that okay, because of inflation, like we discussed before, that if the interest rate was 4% and inflation was 7% at the same time, then the value of your money is not rising, it's falling. Okay, so it won't be a good idea to save in this case, right? Okay. So that's the problem of storing money during inflation. Next is unit of account. Now, money is used to measure the value of goods and services. This means that comparison can be made between the different values of goods and services. For example, um, the price of a computer is 10,000 pound, and the price of a car is 50,000 pound. So we can say car is more valuable than a computer. Okay, so unit of account is an important function. By that you can measure goods and services. You can compare goods and services. Okay, in terms of money. Okay. Next is standard of deferred payment. This means that money can be used to settle a debt. Payment of some goods are deferred. This means that goods are bought and then paid for at a later date. This is because the seller is quite happy to accept money in as in the future as payment. Okay, so what's happening here that um, mm, the standard of deferred payment, that means suppose if someone takes 100 taka loan from you, so you can take 110 taka as from that person, 10 taka as an interest. Okay, so you're taking a different amount for your payment, your loan. Okay, so when you're settling the debt, you're taking an extra amount of money to settle the debt. Okay, so that's what is known as deferred payment. Okay, different amount of payment you're taking to settle the debt. Okay, so but what happens that because of inflation, what may happen that the different amount may seem like doubtful, like the lender may find themselves that he is losing, even if there was a 10% interest rate and maybe 15% inflation was in the society, in the economy. So what will happen that even if you're getting a 10% extra, but the value of the money is falling by 15%, so the lender will find them as in a losing situation, right? And the borrower will find themselves as in a very good situation, like he will find that okay, so taking this money as loan was a good idea after all, because when he's returning, he has to return the money which worth less than the borrowed money. Okay, so borrower is winning, and the lender is losing in this situation when inflation rate is higher than the interest rate. Okay, so this is another problem. So when you're settling that, this is a problem that if inflation will make it difficult to settle debt. Okay. So so this is the end of the syllabus of um, the first monthly exam. Okay. So if you have any question, you can ask me. These are very important questions. Okay. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, I will start reviewing the chapters from the next class. Okay. And also discuss the questions that may come from each of these chapters. Okay. Okay. Okay then. So that's it all for today. Okay. Thank you very much. See you in the next class, inshallah. Thank you.